Hello.
I definitely feel like jazz music is the worst thing to have for an ACC, which is a high-pace, adrenaline race or racing game. But it's the only music I can find. It's really annoying. So
might need to go on the hunt for some more music.
I'll get on the hunt. I do plan on getting there's a subscription I want to get where we'll have non-copyright music for the streams, which I've wanted to get for years, but I never got around to actually getting it, which is really annoying. So that's my bad. Welcome, Molly. Are you gonna join me for spectating, commentating?
I plan on.
You got the stream, or do you want me to stream to Discord?
I'll get the stream, but if F1 have any internet issues, then I'll probably.
I mean, here's what I can do, which will be no additional effort to my machine. There you go.
Awesome.
Right. Whilst we have the drivers going round to finish off their free practice session, I'd like to remind you all we are affiliated with Rogue Energy. I really hope that's running smoothly because it doesn't look like it on my screen. Please use code PHX at checkout for 10% off of your order. Is it smooth on the stream? I can't tell. My preview is saying it's not.
It's a bit choppy.
I feel like it's because of this. See, now it's smooth. Oh. Just turn up the audio so we can listen in for the last lap. We got Maverick, who already in free practice before the briefing had his nice fair share of spins going up Eau Rouge, now going into the bus stop chicane to finish his lap. Is he on a good lap? He improves to 6th place. That's a brilliant lap. Right, here we go. Lasagna, we have the session underway. Now, for those of you who are new, our new format for the qualifying session is that GT3 car on its way out. GT4 cars are not, sorry, GT3 cars are not allowed out. There we go, as Lucky now stops and goes back to the pits. GT4s have the first 10 minutes of qualifying to set in their laps. Get the fastest laps they can possibly get, and then when it comes to the 9th minute of qualifying, they finish their final lap. So on average they'll have about 3 laps they can do before the GT3s come out and the GT4s go into the pit. So let's see what they can do. We got James in the KTM, or as I like to call it, the toy car. So let's see what can the toy car do today at Spa, which is a heavy rain race today. Already had a few drivers complain about their fair share of spinning in the massive puddles that are located quite sporadically around the track. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to survive and keep their track stable and alive, or who will find themselves, unfortunately, sideways. Or worse, backwards, which would even be worse. Is it even possible to flip your car in ACC?
I've never seen it.
It definitely is, because Team Rocket have got it in their trailer. But I'd be surprised if someone does it at Spa. Welcome Formula One, and welcome Maverick. Or
I mean,
Vin.
the extent of damage that I've seen is you getting a puncture.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is still quite hilarious to me.
Oh, well done, Vin, for flipping your Audi. Well done. I would say it would be awesome to see that on stream, but really, please don't. I want to see a clean race from every... I mean, it's going to be a slow race as well, because it's Spa, it's in the rain. Although it's a great track and there are plenty of opportunities, you know, to overtake. Sorry for the Windows sound there. It's also the rain. It's going to be kind of slow. Oh, I know it's not going to be clean. I want to hope that it's going to be clean, but I don't want to see anyone flip upside down. It would be hilarious, but it would be heartbreaking to see someone upside down and have their race ended like that, like Hulkenberg. Was it Hulkenberg? It was, wasn't it?
You on about Monza?
No, Hulkenberg at... Was it Monza when he was hanging there like a cow?
I know there definitely was a flip.
Abu Dhabi, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember who I'm thinking of that flipped at Monza.
Ooh, James going wide, unfortunately, and invalidating his lap. In fact, James being the one who suggested to all drivers, make sure you put a banker lap in, because you'll only have 3 opportunities to set a lap, and unfortunately his first lap is invalidated. So this will be a slow hot lap for him. Behind him we've got ourselves Andrea Falzetti. I believe, if I have a quick look... Yeah, that sounds about right, that it was a Grosjean Hulkenberg incident. Hulkenberg, sorry. I believe the standings for GT4, let's have a look. Andrea Falzetti won at Hungary last week, and Kevin Happyface, who unfortunately will not be racing with us tonight, achieved 2nd place last week. James, unfortunately, had a disconnect problem, which resulted in no points. So for James, it'll be huge for him to gather points, but with only 3 GT3 drivers, he can only cut that gap down by no more than 10 points, assuming Andrea Falzetti finds himself in 3rd place. So it'll be interesting to see where will they find themselves for the race. If you probably haven't noticed this yet, because a lot of them are on the GT3 cars, but some of the GT4 drivers do have custom liveries. We do invite our drivers to create themselves a custom livery, and I will make sure to download them and have them available for us to watch on stream. You can already see there the rear bumper, or the rear number plate, is too fast for you for Andrea Falzetti. He's also got a boost loading at the back there, and of course our Phoenix icon. So, and here we go, Andrea round the bus stop chicane and across the line. This will be the first valid time for the GT4s, and the time to beat will be a 2:51 by the current championship leader. Next we have the Mercedes of Andreas Patterson or Peterson, sorry, I'm really slaughtering names today, my bad, who also is on an invalidated lap. Let's have a quick look. There is James going up Eau Rouge. He keeps it within track limits. That's very good to see. His invalidated lap time was a 2:52.3. So currently 4/10 off of the pole lap. Just behind him you can see Andrea Falzetti. Vin, whilst you have a couple minutes still before your GT3 qualifying, how was your lasagna, sorry. I actually really fancy lasagna now. I really go for lasagna now. Oh well, I guess I'm having lasagna for dinner then. I just gotta find all the ingredients to make that for myself then.
No, spectate the ACC race and then.
No. You can do the ACC race. I want to go make myself some lasagna.
Nah, you can't leave me on my own.
You're a big boy.
Ah.
Vin will keep you company for like a minute longer, and then he'll be gone doing his race.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got the toy car. I just love it. I love the KTM. Honestly, I don't think there's anything James will ever be able to do or say to convince me that I shouldn't call it the toy car, because it really does look like a toy car, but it is a very quick toy car in the hands of James. Be interesting to see what lap time he's able to produce going around the circuit now, which apparently, although he set an invalidated lap, I really wish ACC would show the delta accurately, like F1, and not say that, you know, he's now 13 seconds behind his previous best.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating, kind of confusing for me, because I forget about that half the time, I won't lie. But here we go into the third sector, but around towards the end of the third sector, along that very long, slightly kinked straight, into the bus stop chicane. 20 seconds, or 15 seconds remaining now. 10 seconds remaining. Can he get to the line and beat the 151.9 to the line? Where is it? There it is. Oh, just barely. Half a second quicker. That was a very good lap by James Konos there, and I think just behind him, Andrea Falzetti puts in a new fastest lap for 1:59. So that very, very nice and tidy lap by James is quickly defeated. Now we are going down to the 11th minute, so the GT4s have this one final lap left to qualify. So Andreas Peterson only has one more lap to qualify and potentially fight for pole position in the GT4 race. Before all of the GT3 drivers come out, let's actually go switch to him, if the game will allow me, going into the bus stop chicane. He is on a valid lap time. Looks like a slow exit. I mean, I don't know GT4 cars, unfortunately. I do want to try them out and practice them. And he puts in a 1:52.0, a very good lap, at least putting one on the timing screen. He now has the opportunity, as the 10-minute mark has not been crossed, to finish one more lap. And already coming out of that first corner, he is matching his previous time. So now all GT4 drivers are on their last lap, and GT3 drivers are welcome to leave the pits. But of course we do request that they get out of the way should a GT4 car approach them, and they will let them through. But so far this is looking very good for Falzetti and his championship fight. Currently leading the pack. Leading by 7 points to Kevin, who is a no-show, unfortunately, for this week. And currently has the fastest lap by half a second. And he's currently on for an improved lap by a whole second. So clearly, the track is getting quicker. Either that, or he has found some pace where the others may have not, going slightly wide there, almost losing his back end. I believe that is James in the pits. He's happy with his time. You can see there on the left-hand side of the screen all of the GT3 drivers out. Vin, if you're still here, good luck with your lap. I do look forward to seeing where you will place yourself and that Ferrari on the grid. But we do have 2 more GT4 drivers now. Falzetti to the bus stop chicane. Currently 1 second up on his previous lap. Now, can he keep that time up into the first corner? Hitting the apex beautifully into the second corner. Also right on the apex. In fact, improving his time now to the line. That will be a 1.2 second improvement. That's a 1:49.8. Very, very good lap. And continuing to expand that gap to James behind him. Then if we go... Why does it keep telling me that? Now if we go to Andreas Peterson just behind him, unfortunately currently half a second down on his previous best. But there is still half a sector to go, so we could potentially still find improvement. Do have a yellow flag out, I believe, for the number 1 driver. Unfortunately, I do not believe the number 1 is Oosby this week. I think we might have a slight confusion with numbering for this race. We do have a lot of new drivers today for ACC, so I think someone else is repping the number 1 card number. We'll have to take a look afterwards. That's a 1:52.3 by the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, not an improvement, but you will be starting 3rd for the GT4s. Now let's have a look. We've got the Porsches. Okay, let's get rid of this display. Let's have a look at all of the drivers. Got a few newcomers. We do have a new server, so we're still working on a few things, but for the most part you will find that GT3 drivers will be white. Those who are not white or are grey are new to the server, or we may have made a slight mistake, not sorted out full drivers, so apologies for that. And then obviously we will try and make all of our GT4 drivers race under the red colour. And there's our number 1, Lucky, which unfortunately is the wrong race number, but it is their first time racing with us, and of course we will do our best to try and get that sorted out for next race. Our previous championship winner was Oosby, who does rep, or can have the option to rep the number 1 should he want to, just like Max Verstappen with F1. We have 1, 2... Well, last season we had 1, 2, and 3 reserved for Pro Tier, Amateur Tier, and GT4 Tier. But now this season, I believe, I will have to confirm this with the team, I believe it's just 1 and 2 for overall and for GT4 drivers. We'll have to find out after the race now. Let's have a look. Who's all the way at the top of the pack? Who's about to set the first valid time? I believe it should be Falkenberg. With he's got a racing McLaren just behind him. That's Maverick, and we have Altosis all behind one another. Altosis and Finn both on the same team. We do have teams for ACC. It's not like F1, where you've got Mercedes and Red Bull fighting for constructors, but purely a matter of entertainment purposes and having a bit of fun. Of course, you're able to band with your friends and create your own teams. So here we've got Vin, James, and Altosis racing for Team Rocket. 2 GT3 drivers, of which the 1 GT3 driver, Finn Falkenberg, the driver we are spectating now, was a GT4 driver and has transitioned to the GT3 Championship. James, being a GT3 driver last season, has moved over to the GT4 race for the championship there. Now, as we come to the line, Vin Falkenberg with the first time onto the table, I believe. The time to beat is a 2:37.2, as that's quickly beaten now down to Ackerman. Jachet going in 4/10 behind. And already, Falkenberg going through the first corner and finds himself just 4/10 up on his previous lap. Let's go through the rest of the drivers. Why do you keep telling me their car electronics? I don't care about their car electronics. Let's go on board with Oosby. I say with on board. Let's follow Oosby going around the track for his first hot lap of the session. believe this is the most number of drivers we've had in a while for ACC as well. We've got 19 drivers on the grid for GT3 and 3 drivers for GT4 as we previously saw. Now with 4 minutes remaining, all drivers more or less have 2 laps to go. Ousby will cross the line and will have 2 laps to go. No, everyone will have 2 laps to go. Assuming my maths is correct. I think it's correct. We'll have to wait and see as Ousby puts in a stellar lap. Unfortunately, does not manage to out-qualify Chenet with a 133.5, an exact 133.5 as well. And he's already put himself into the pits comfortable with that lap time. Who else do we have out here? We've got S. Almeida in a beautiful white Ferrari, going into the bus stop chicane, currently on a hot lap. Off to see what he qualifies. We do have a yellow flag at the back there. I believe a few drivers have spun. It is, after all, raining. Let's have a look. S. Almeida crosses the line with a 1:41. Oh, very good lap time by the Ferrari driver, already finding himself a second improved into that first sector. So a good banker lap. And now he has an opportunity by a margin of about 7 seconds or 8 seconds to be able to put in a final hot lap with hopefully no mistake. Do have a few drivers sitting in the pits here. Oh wait, no, those are all of the GT3 drivers. No, there is... There it is, Jachet was in the pits. GT3 driver. Who else do we have on the grid who has not yet set a lap time yet? We have Follow Zin. Apologies if you're watching the replay and I've pronounced that wrong. I do like to try my best if I can. Otherwise, I will just give up immediately and admit defeat. We have, I believe, a new driver riding in a green, beautiful green Lamborghini around Spa. Oh no, Vin! Underfuel, that's... I mean, you put in a good lap though. So, you know, it's a proud lap for Team Rocket and an even prouder lap for Ferrari, Forza Ferrari. But yeah, let's see what the new driver can do. Unfortunately, it does appear as though he's on an invalid lap, but he is coming around towards the last corner. Yeah, he's got a minute left, and he's got the line just about 20 seconds ahead of him. So I think he'll be able to make it to the line more than comfortably. But this will be his one and only chance to put a time on the screen. If we look at the timetable, we do have currently 6 drivers who have not set a valid lap time yet, unfortunately. And so now, if they haven't already, Cullen, who has not managed to come out of the pits in time and has had set 2 laps, fortunately both invalidated, will qualify where others have... well, currently will qualify in 21st, assuming... the Audi driver of Zur does not put in a lap time, but I would like to have faith that our drivers manage to put it in. I say that as Zur is in the pits, so that is the final 2. All those in the pits now will start the race where they are, assuming no positions are changed. But let's have a look now. Let's go back to the broadcasting screen and follow with our Lamborghini driver on his one and only hot lap going into the first set of corners for the circuit. I say first set of corners, it's not really the first set of corners, but it's more or less. 137.4. How did you set a 137.4? You mean a 237.4? If you set a 137.4, mate, you're on fire. You beat Chenet by a minute.
Which is very impressive.
It is very impressive, and if you did that, I would fire my entire Tier 1 lineup for F1 and put you in. Nah, I wouldn't do that. I like Chenet and Paul too much. There's the line for Ackerman. Ackerman into 3rd place, Maverick into 5th, Jachet into 8th, and Eitri Melee? I would like to know how you pronounce that, actually. I'm quite curious to know. They have all finished the race. We've also got quite a handful of drivers. JP putting in a lap time now. What is that? I wish it would tell me. Is there a way of it getting it to tell me the lap times? No, there isn't? Okay, wonderful. Putting in a 4.5 second slower lap than Shanae. Thank you, ACC. So helpful. Let's see, though. We've got the Lamborghini driver now going through the final few corners, approaching towards the bus stop chicane very shortly. Let's hope. I would like to assume it will be a lap time that will beat the GT4s. GT4s are generally... I say that as he goes into the bus stop chicane and unfortunately does not make it for the corner. Let's see who else is out on track. We've got ourselves E3. I'm going to work this out and be able to pronounce it. Welcome, JK. No worries that you are late. It happens to the best of us, and that's qualifying over. That was an interesting qualifying, I have to say. I'm quite surprised that we have 6 drivers who did not set a valid lap time for qualifying. Though having said that I'm surprised. It is Spa-Francorchamps in heavy rain, so I'm not surprised at the same time, because it is a very difficult track already in the dry, or at least for myself. I'm a terrible driver, I'm happy to admit that. But it is still impressive to see all of these drivers being able to put in the lap times. It will be tough for these 6 drivers not qualified, and finding themselves starting the race behind the GT4 drivers. Obviously, the GT4 drivers, on average, on a dry race, are about 10 seconds, I believe, 10 to 12 seconds slower than the GT3s, so probably even more so in the rain. So obviously, I would love to see everyone be able to get through this as cleanly as possible. And we do have a few penalties to be served. Well, actually, before I get to the penalties, whilst we wait for the session start, one thing to note is we do have new rules. So those of you who are new will have had this explained in the briefing. For those of you new to the stream, we have a mandatory pit stop open for all drivers now in a certain window. So drivers from halfway into the race for about 10 minutes long will have a pit window open, and they are welcome to pit. It is not mandatory that you refuel or change your tyres, though you are welcome to. And obviously repair your damage, which I suspect will have plenty of damage shared amongst everyone on the grid today. So yeah, we have the mandatory stop. It is we have had it calculated. You do lose, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, about 7 seconds if you go into the pits and refuel with 50% fuel. But you lose, I think it was 5 seconds going into the pits and not refueling at all and starting the race with 100% fuel. So we'll have to see who does what. Penalties, you can already see there. Jay Kelly, the second half of the pro BMW team, Oosby being the first half, has a drive-through penalty to serve. Unfortunately, from last round, received enough penalty marks on his license now to have to serve a drive-through. It will have to be served before the first 3 laps of the race, otherwise he will be disqualified by the game for not serving it. We also have a pit lane start for Altosis, aka Noah Ackerman, currently sitting in 3rd place in that Porsche. So it will be S. Vish, a new driver, I believe, to the grid, who will find himself up into 3rd place for the start of the race. But unfortunately, he will find himself starting the race in position as if he was in 4th place. So although there is a driver starting in the pits, he will still have to start the race as if he's in 4th place. Whilst we are waiting for the drivers to get ready for the start of the race, I believe we do have formation lap enabled. I'm going to hope we do have it enabled, but we'll have to see if it was enabled for this season. I've said enabled far too many times there, I'm sorry.
Well, I just had my mic muted for a little bit, so I apologize for that.
Absolutely no worries, mate. Welcome.
This is a huge field for a rain race. I believe this is probably the largest rain field that I have seen.
Oh, it definitely is for me. I mean, the last time I saw this many drivers was on Misano, and I think we had about 5 drivers retire from the race from collision or frustration during the race.
Lap 1 of that race was very scary.
It was indeed. There we go, Ackerman is in the pits, and all of the drivers are going... Now, I don't know, we'll have to check with the drivers now going round the first corner. I think there is a formation lap. I'm pretty sure. I remember speaking to the team and we said we were going to put one on, but I'm not too sure. I'll have to see. I think potentially there won't be one for this round, unfortunately.
This is the new this is endurance pit lane. Is that correct, or start line? Which I'm not.
There it is, green light, no formation lap. Sad face, I'm upset, but oh well. Shanae and Oosby going too wide up Eau Rouge. Okay, Oosby backing out of that fight. But so far it looks as though all drivers behind. As I say that, there is a collision at the back with the GT4s and the GT3s. And that is, no, that is Vin Valkenburg qualifying 7th. Unfortunately now, down towards the back of the grid with a lot of damage to the front of his car. Zor as well involved in that incident. I believe that is the Lamborghini as well. You can see Vin there really slowing down and struggling to drive. Bidnal, I really can't pronounce names today, is in the pits. That was going so well, but unfortunately we have now lost ourselves a handful of drivers. Let's have a look there. I think Vin, is he still on the side of the track or is he driving? I think he's driving. He is driving. Let's hope he can make it back to the pits. Of course, you are welcome to pit before the pit window opens, but it won't be counted as your mandatory pit stop for the race. Very unfortunate start for the Team Rocket driver, newly signed Team Rocket driver in that Ferrari. As we see the Lamborghini of Volosin making a move down the inside on the GT4 driver. And in fact, I believe that GT4 driver, Patterson, does have damage to the front of his car. He does, and that is a few more cars on the side of the track. That will be Jay Spinner in that blue McLaren, as we have an incident between a McLaren and a Lamborghini there. There's a lot going on. There it is. There's Spinner. We had Zor as well involved in that incident. No, he's definitely got some damage to his car. Maverick is in the pits. So is Falkenberg. There we go. All 3 of them are in the pits. Lucky is also in the pits. And Shanae coming around the bus stop chicane with a very, very large lead to Oosby behind him. Crosses the line for the first lap of the race, whilst chaos ensues behind him. In fact, now Vish is in second. What's happened to Oosby? Have I missed something? Oosby... That's Kelly into the pit, serving his drive-through, but where's Oosby? There he is. Oosby's fallen down all the way to 7th place. And now fighting with Sinister into the first corner. I think he's going to comfortably make the move there.
He must have had a spin or something. Must
have. It doesn't appear as though he's got any damage to his car, which is fortunate. It is a very long I say pit straight, but like to be able to go into your pit box, you have to go into the F1 pit lane and then round the corner into the ACC pit boxes. So you do certainly lose a lot of time in the pit. So fortunately, there'll be no damage to his car and no time lost for his championship fight. That's a lot happening in one lap. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I did ask for an exciting race, but I didn't ask for people to be murdered. This is the complete opposite. As I see Ackerman flashing his lights at the GT4 driver, now finds himself up into 8th place. James up into 11th place. This is a very strong start for the GT4s if we were doing GT4s versus GT3s, but unfortunately we're not. It's a very spicy first lap indeed.
It is indeed.
And that is Kelly done with his drive-through. Now he can properly race and try and catch up to the field ahead of him. Look, oh,
It
look
is
at that.
great to see
Go on.
Peterson out. It is great to see Peterson out. I did not realize he was going to be driving with us this season.
Yeah, I've not seen him I didn't see him much last season, I believe. So it is nice to see. I mean, there's a lot of new faces as well, and it's exciting to
Yeah.
see a lot of new faces. But it's also terrifying to see a lot of new faces.
Yeah. Well, I believe he was out with a hand injury for most of the season. He said he couldn't
Oh
drive.
yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right. So very glad to see him back.
Indeed.
But just look at that gap that Sinead has. He's got 10 seconds already. Sinead, calm down. There is still 40 minutes left of this race. Oh, I feel like Sinead's going to be able to lap everyone, including that in second place. At this rate.
At this rate, definitely. Definitely. He's figured something out for sure.
And I think we've seen these drivers in the pits for a while now. Spinner's now finished his stop. I think Maverick, potentially. I'm not too certain. But he's been in the pits for 2 laps now. I can't imagine him retiring. I can't imagine Vin retiring. Have you retired, Vin? I know you were in the chat earlier, but I can't tell if you're still in the pits. And Lucky as well is still in the pits there. We've got JP, looks to have front body damage. Finds himself up into 3rd place. I love this camera angle. Oh, it's beautiful.
That's a fantastic camera.
Oh, I love watching the cars go through an Upper Rouge. Oh, there we go. Maverick's out. Maverick's got a drive through. That's very unfortunate to see for the Audi driver there. We've got Cullen, the 4th BMW driver on the grid, currently sitting in 9th place. What else do we have? Got Falzetti currently leading the championship for the GT4s, currently leading as well. If we were giving points in overall, do we give points in overall to GT4s? I believe we do. So currently Falzetti sitting in a position to collect 1 point. I say that now as the Lamborghini with sheer beauty and pace, steaming around the outside and taking 10th place now.
Unless something changed from last year, I believe it's a separate championship point. So he's in 1st in the GT4, unless that changed.
I have to see that Lamborghini's got quite a bit of damage, or at least a good handful of scrapes on the front of that car there.
It does.
Have a look. There is the toy car of James Konos. I will never get bored of that toy car, honestly.
It is a fantastic car, and he's keeping pace with Falzetti, if not catching him. I think he's catching him actually, which is very impressive for that car. I'd played around with that car a little bit, and I couldn't figure it out. But what he's been able to do with it is just honestly incredible.
Be interesting to see. Could this be? I'm not going to jinx it, but I'm going to say it. Could this be the race where we see a new GT4 driver on the top step of the podium there?
I would love to see it. I would absolutely love to see it. Konos is making that car work for sure, though. That's really impressive to watch.
I mean, he certainly is cutting that time down. He was at 2.5 seconds. Oh, no, he's at 2.6 seconds. Never mind. The game just didn't want to give me the right time reading. Wunderbar. Maverick in the pits. I believe Maverick will be serving his drive-through now. Very unfortunate start for Maverick. I can only assume for him to receive a drive-through, it would have to be... No, because speeding in the pit lane is a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds. So I wonder what on earth caused him to have a drive-through.
I'm not sure. That's very odd.
Oh, here we go. I think we got ourselves a battle between an Audi and a Porsche going into the first corner. Zor looking to make a move down the inside. He does make the move.
Can he make it stick?
I think he does. Now finds himself up into 13th place. That is a beautiful coloured Porsche, though. Slight side note, but like, that is a nice Porsche.
It is. It really is. That is beautiful.
There comes Maverick out of the pit, serving his drive-through. Now, unfortunately,
A long drive-through.
I believe that will be 2 laps down for the Audi driver.
That's
2 laps,
very
maybe 1
difficult.
lap. We'll have to see once it updates, if it wants to update, that is.
Right.
Shanae, 13.5 seconds ahead, just, you know, gone. Already lapped one GT4 driver, of course.
Oh my goodness.
That's not Shanae, never mind, that's Jay Kelly. I can't see cars. They all have Audis, okay, that's my excuse.
BMWs.
We've got lucky. What did I say? Did I just say Audis?
Audis.
Oh,
You did.
It's not my day at all. There's Shanae in the BMW. Going through the what is that? The 174. So that's the McLaren of. I'm gonna say Med. I'm not gonna try and pronounce the name and slaughter it horrendously. One of these days, I'll get all ACC drivers to teach me how to pronounce their names accurately, and I will nail it.
Yeah, I struggle with some of them. I struggled for a while with Jachet. That one.
A lot of people struggle with Jachet's one. Jachet and Shanae.
Yeah, and Jachet isn't giving us really any help, to be fair.
No. I mean, he spells it like... He spells it where Jachet does not make sense.
Exactly. Which is why it took me so long, even after hearing y'all pronounce it Jachet.
I'm pretty sure I just called him Jay for a while to save mispronouncing it.
Yes.
Let's see, who's number 7? Who is he catching up now? Shanae is catching up to Spinner.
Yeah.
Spinner, who in the past 3 days submitted a new livery for his car, and I have to say I love the new livery because that blue works perfectly. And as I speak about him, unfortunately, he finds himself spinning with, I believe that was probably a snap of oversteer coming out of the corner, and now helicopter into the wall.
That is such an easy turn to oversteer out of. You've got all the weight on that right rear tire, and as soon as you hit that rumble strip, it's so easy to lose it.
Next up the road. Go on.
If you wonder how common a wreck that is, you should actually just look at the F1 Spa race last year. We had at least one driver doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. Next down the line from Shanae is Sebastian. I will not pronounce the last name, apologies. But I can pronounce Sebastian really well. You know, who loves Sebastian Vettel? Everyone does.
Exactly.
In that Porsche. We've got a nice handful of Porsches, I have to say. From it just being Ackerman, JP, and Jachet, we've now got number 221, Eitrim. I've been trying to pronounce this all stream so far, and I've failed miserably. I don't know. Ertimli. That's why I was thinking, but it doesn't sound right. Then again, that's the thing with names. It'll never sound right unless you hear it from the person, so we'll have to find out. But then we've got the beautiful pink and blue livery by Sebastian. I have to say, I love the pink and blue. It definitely caught my eye on the grid among everyone else's livery. It's
very, very nice. Stands out among the crowd for sure.
I think I said this last week as well. We got to have a livery competition. Try and encourage as many people as possible to create a livery.
That would be good.
I'd love to see what a lot of the graphic designers can do to their cars and show off their skills in that area.
Definitely.
Next, we've got
really cool.
Peterson. He's got a hefty amount of damage to the front of his car.
He really does.
Can't be doing much help to his race. Currently sitting, what is that? Let's have a look at the GT4 table. 27 seconds behind James at the moment.
Ooh.
Whilst James is 5.9 seconds behind Falzetti, so definitely not helping his time.
Falzetti's kind of running away from James there. I'm a little surprised.
It is quite interesting, but I guess there is the matter of fueling. I would assume has quite a huge impact for rain races.
I would imagine so. I haven't experienced that personally, just because the only rain race I did was we were all on full tanks, so I'm not very familiar with how fuel affects a rain race.
There's Vin Falkenberg coming up 0.5 seconds behind Lucky. Going down the inside into the bus stop chicane. Beautiful move.
Absolutely
One McLaren
beautiful.
to another.
He's in a Ferrari.
As he spins, unfortunately.
Oh!
Ferrari. And the McLaren spinning as well.
Oh no.
It is certainly a race to forget for Team Rocket driver Vin Falkenberg.
That's horrible.
Let's forget the fact that I called him a McLaren driver as well. I don't like McLaren. I like Ferrari. Forza Ferrari. We've got Kay Cullen, who unfortunately is gone from this race, retiring in the pits. Clearly not his day, I would assume. Then Jachet up into 6th place. Well, in fact, we got 3 Porsches back to back. Jachet, Ackerman, and JP. We need 3 BMWs. Kelly, where are you? Get up here.
Well, speaking of the BMWs, Ousby seems to be catching Vish. He's only 2.8 seconds off his bumper. I wonder how long that's going to take for him to get the job done there.
Can that Mercedes driver put up a challenge, though, for Ousby, current defending champion?
One thing's for sure, that after these last 2 races, Ousby has his work cut out for him.
For certain. I'm looking forward to the next few races, because I think we got Brands Hatch this season. We've got Paul Ricard, which is due to be light rain, which will be interesting to see. Considering how many people have spun at Spa with heavy rain,
right?
France will be a lot more open, less walls for you to collide with, but rain certainly will not help.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I've actually never raced at Ricard.
I have. It's tough.
Complain about it.
The one bit I don't like is that long straight, because you just become a sitting duck if you've got a slow car.
Yeah.
Or you've got a terrible exit. I remember doing practice around that track, and I think I got overtaken by 3 cars, and they were having a 3-way battle down the straight, and I'm just there like, I will tag along and enjoy the show.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's fun, but it is miserable when you have those kind of scenarios where you have so many people have a great exit, because you're still, obviously, for me at that time, I was learning the track. And then you end up getting overtaken by people who've done the track about 1,000 times before you.
Right, exactly. This, it's really interesting too. I've been practicing on the F1 game that I just got for the race this afternoon. And it's really interesting how much less you carry speed through corners, and how much more you do so with that, and how much more you do so with GT cars. Because especially with the GT4s, it is all about apex speed. How high can you get your apex speed to be, and how quickly can you get on the throttle after that? That's so much of getting a good lap time in ACC. Ousby's cutting that gap down significantly.
There we go. Pit window's open. Halfway into the race. Drivers have 10 minutes to serve their pit. If they do not serve their pits before the end of the pit window, they will be penalised with 130 seconds added to their race time by the game itself. We don't add that. The game gives that to you. So, of course, we would highly advise you definitely pit, because you're going to lose a lot less time than 130 seconds by going in for a drive-through, more or less. So do that. Let's have a look now. Ousby 1 second behind. I think we're going to have a nice fair share of drivers in the pits, at least to repair damage. Like Sinister's, he's got front bumper damage. The Lamborghini for Volozin. Apologies again if I'm mispronouncing that. He's also got a small fair share of damage there on the front. Zur, I believe, as well. Falkenberg's already fixed his car. Barris has, and Peterson, both have front bodywork damage. And now we look to Vish and Ousby, and now they're basically back to back. Ousby is a man on the hunt for second place, and potentially, depending on how the pits go, potentially on the hunt for the race victory. Of course, that will continue to extend his lead from his race victory. Was it race victory? It was race victory, I believe, at Hungary. I actually don't remember. I should remember this.
Shanae won the race at Hungary because Uzbi got caught up in the early.
Yes, he did.
And spent the whole race behind, just like today.
And unfortunately, after the penalty review as well, Uzbi receiving 15 seconds of time penalties, which continues to extend that lead that Shanae had. So Shanae finished the race after penalties with 20 seconds ahead. So, actually, Shanae desperately needs the race victory over Shanae to level out the playing field.
He does,
almost like Max Verstappen and Checo Perez in F1 all over again.
Exactly. It's honestly reminding me a lot of that, but just because of how otherworldly the pace of both Uzbi and Shanae is. You see this. Uzbi drops 7 places down on the first lap and just claws every last position back except for Shanae, and I'm interested to see what would happen if it's the other way around. But it's both of these drivers are just, the pace is insane that they're keeping.
And there's Shanae into the pits. He's doing it now, and to know as well, half the grid is in the pits. Spinner being the first driver to come out of the pit, serving his mandatory pit stop. Maverick having served 1 pit stop to repair damage, another drive-through that miraculously, but surprisingly, he got a drive-through for some reason or other,
right.
And now obviously he's done a 3rd pit stop for his mandatory pit stop. So a very unfortunate race for the Irishman. But Shanae is in the pits.
Makes the pass as well.
So
He makes the pass on Vish to go.
He's ahead of Vish. Is now leading the race. Who's that coming out of the pits? Number 44. That's Vish. Number 39. I can't see 39. Sinister. There we go. I got there in the end. But Shanae, that is the question now. Number 70. Still in the pits, I believe. He is.
How?
Still hasn't left the pits.
Whoa.
Oh, there we go. He's now leaving. I think, potentially, considering how long he spent in the pits, could he have gone for refueling or potentially change his tyres because he can? And he's got the confidence to change his tyres.
I don't know why you would in a rain race, because rain tires typically don't degrade anywhere as fast as slicks. The fueling option is interesting to me. I feel like we're going to see a lot of drivers.
And we have our first disqualification.
Oh.
Ballis is disqualified from the session, and unless I was blind, no notification came up on my screen to explain what the reasoning was for that disqualification.
I saw speeding in pits he was disqualified for, which I did not realize was...
I thought speeding was stop-go.
Could it have been after he did that several times, maybe?
Perhaps. We'll have to see and find out later on from the stewards team. We've got S. Almeida as well disqualified.
Driving wrong way.
Driving wrong way, that definitely does not help.
No.
Yeah, I find although Spa can be fun backwards, I wouldn't recommend doing that in the actual race. So now we've got, what is that? 7 drivers still to pit, and 4 of whom are at the top of the pack, with Uzbi now leading the race after a very unfortunate start, finding himself down into 8th place.
Looks like he is not pitting.
No, and Vish isn't falling as far back behind as I was expecting. After being overtaken by the BMW driver, Vish is still 1.7 seconds, 1.5 seconds, sorry, behind the BMW driver. So he's keeping up by a fair share.
Well,
Ackerman in the pits now.
I do believe, actually, that was about the same pace difference before Uzbi passed him. So he's just holding the pace he can, I believe, which is very quick, and I don't think
Joshe in the pits as
Ackerman,
well.
the next one back behind him is Ackerman. I don't think Ackerman's. Well, I don't know.
Oh no, Vish
But
now 2.7
maybe.
seconds behind. But he did have
Yeah.
what looked to be a squirrely moment coming out of one of those middle sector corners. I'm not going to try and guess a corner number because I don't play Spa enough to know that.
Exactly, me too. But
So
I honestly, Vish has a decent chance of bringing home third at this point because I'm not seeing anyone who can really challenge him that much, and his pace isn't good enough to attack the BMWs, obviously, but it's definitely good enough for
well, I
what I'm
have
seeing
to
to
pit
hold
this lap.
third.
It's 2.5 minutes per lap, and they've only got 2.5. They've only got 2.5 minutes left to serve that pit. So we've got 4 drivers who will be pitting this lap. If they do not, they will find themselves with 130 seconds of penalties, and I do not want to see that go on.
I see 7 drivers that actually have not pitted this lap, and okay, so Shanae, let's see, no, who was up there? It was Ackerman. Ackerman had not pitted. He's green now.
He's come out of it. Joshe's finished, and he's leaving the pits now. Falzetti is in the pits now. Zora is in the pits. So now it is just down to first and second place on the grid. Oosby, who is catching up. Who is Oosby catching up to? He's catching up to the Lamborghini. But it doesn't matter if he's catching up. He has to pit now. Otherwise, that will be the end of his race. There he goes into the pits. And obviously, Vish will follow as well. Now, how much...
retake the lead.
Yeah, but how much time will Oosby have gained from leaving his pit window, or his pit, to the last minute? Of course, here you can see now, spectating them, this is the F1 pit box area, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if there's an actual name for that area. And then you can see the corner just ahead of them. They have to go at the pit limiter pace all the way down through this first pit lane, and then round the corner, next to the track again, and then into the second pit box area for their pit stop. There you go, there's the circuit to the left. God, is it, honestly, I remember doing a season break event at Spa, and my teammate got disqualified because we couldn't find our pit box.
Oh.
So it was a wonderful experience for us at Spa.
Oh, that's terrible. In iRacing, they actually have both pit configurations, and this pit configuration is referred to as the endurance. So I'm assuming this is for when you have a full field of both LMPs and GTs, so that you have all those pit boxes.
Yeah, there goes Shanae taking the lead. Oosby already done with his pit stop, and Vish as well. Now coming out of the pits. So Vish will find himself down in the third place, Oosby up into second, and Shanae up into first. Shanae was 40 seconds behind when they entered the pit box, or the pit lane, rather. Now, let's see when Oosby crosses the line. Vish with the fastest lap as well. I only just noticed that. But Oosby, 12.5 seconds behind. So Oosby again, leaving the pit stop to the last second possible, has managed to cut down a lot of time. I feel like Shanae needs to take a page out of Oosby's book and just wait till the last moment.
Definitely. Well, both races he's pitted early and Oosby's pitted late, and I believe it's worked out to Oosby's favor. Those last few laps, especially if you're, well, I guess if you're planning on refueling during the stop, those last few laps of low fuel are really going to be beneficial.
And not to help Shanae's time, he's now caught up to Team Rocket, James Konos, who goes wide there, and the beautiful pink for Sebastian, I believe that is. Yeah, it's Sebastian. Is that Sebastian? I think it is Sebastian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's pink Porsche.
212, yeah.
See, I hate that, because we've got a 212, and then I believe He's gone now, but we did have a 2-2-1 as well. So it's very confusing to differentiate between the two.
Extremely.
And that's Zor backwards on the track as well. A lot of helicopters here at Spa.
That's
very unfortunate.
Common place to see a spin.
44 as well. Vish has had a bit of an incident.
Ooh.
Vish now off the track. Number 23 is ahead of him. Ackerman is up into 3rd place, and Vish severe damage to the front of his car.
Off again.
So now Ackerman finds himself up into 3rd place. And I believe JP will find himself up into 5th place. And now Vish, unfortunately, who has driven beautifully for the first 30 minutes of this race, now has severe front damage. You can see he is snapping that front left. Snapped as far left as possible, but he cannot turn the car whatsoever. He will now have to pit. There is no way in hell he's going to do 15 laps around Spa in the rain with that much damage.
That is terrible.
That is
absolute.
Still driver in the day for me. He was competing and contesting with those top 3 runners. But that is an unfortunate end to him. I mean, he's still able to come back. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think the chance of a podium is certainly slipping away, or even already has slipped away by a significant amount of time.
I think unless there's another large wreck, I think it's pretty much gone, unfortunately.
We've got Maverick in 17th, currently sitting 11? No, 11. What am I on about? 11. 3 laps down to the rest of the grid. Of course, he's done 3 pit stops so far. He's got damage to the front of his car. I can't actually see that. But he is now catching... who is he catching? He's got Kelly ahead of him. Kelly, who has just lapped him.
Ooh.
This is certainly a race to forget. Vish still going through the pits. This is what I mean. It's such a long pit box.
It really
We've gone through for 2.5 minutes, and we've now come back to him to see he's going to his pit box. This is... Spa, please change this. I don't like seeing our drivers go through this much pain. But, to a happier note, Jachet, who had a stupendous amount of damage, sorry to cut you off there, but momentarily, like, he had a stupendous amount of damage at Hungary last race, not last season. And now Jachet finds himself up into 5th place. JP, I can't remember where he finished last weekend, but he's now up into 4th place. He's coming up to, I believe, that is Alex in the McLaren, coming to lap him. And then, of course, we got Ackerman. So we got ourselves, Kelly, we have a BMW, then 3 Porsches, then 2 BMWs.
Really, really impressive drive from Jachet and JP, both hanging in there and making it work on this track. This is such a hard track and such a difficult condition to drive in. Really impressive drive from these 2 drivers.
Indeed. Fastest lap, though. What is the fastest lap?
Also, just to note, Oosby has dropped back some, about a half a second from Shanae. Shanae has the winning pace right now. Just now lapping Vish as he comes out.
Well, speaking of Vish, it won't. There we go. The fastest lap is a 2:33.955. 2:33.955, and Shanae's fastest lap is a 2:34.257.
Wow.
So Shanae 3/10 off of the pace for the fastest lap.
But he just lapped the driver. Oh, and he's off again. Vish is off again.
There's certainly a race to forget for the Mercedes driver. It was going so well. I mean, he's got a lot of scraps on that car now, and he's had a big snap of oversteer there. Good drift, I will have to say. Very nice drift. And there goes Sebastian with that beautiful pink. There comes Kelly behind. Oosby as well. His fastest lap is a 2:34.0. So Oosby is currently 1/10 off of the fastest lap. And
Something
that's
definitely
Vish
happened.
done. I think Vish is returned to pits. And I think he's going to be done with this race.
Must have happened to that car because he could not keep the rear behind the front on this lap. That's terrible. He was running such a good race.
I was looking forward to seeing. It's kind of like Red Bulls and Aston Martins all over again. I was looking forward to seeing a new competitor up on the podium.
Absolutely, me too. It was to be back down to 11.8. See if he can chip away at that. His fastest lap is about 0.2 faster than Shanae's, so he has the potential to chop some time off. Not quickly, and probably not in 5 laps, but he's got the potential to get close.
To note as well, I've just noticed we've got Ackerman lapping his teammate James Konos in that GT4, and also Zur is now 3 seconds behind James, fighting for 10th place overall. So we've got 2 Team Rockets back to back. Honestly, it does. So Falkenberg is my race engineer for Ferrari for F1, so it does kind of hurt my heart to see that he's fallen so far in this this GT3 race. But it has happened to so many drivers, and it's very unfortunate to see.
It really is.
It seems to happen to all the good people, all the best people who've like got a proper chance of securing a good podium or a win, and it just goes downhill so quickly.
It does.
Whilst we watch James and Zur fight it out, I'm actually going to have a look at the calendar for next week. What are you going to say?
I was just saying I've been there myself a time or two. I had a really good practice and qualifying for Zandvoort last year, and got taken out in a lap 1 incident and a lap 2 incident, and my front end was damaged just enough that I couldn't even compete for anything more than a 3rd place. And that's just so frustrating. And of course, with 3rd place isn't bad, but with the GT4s, that was... Oh, Zur around.
Oh no.
But yeah, with the GT4s, there's only like 5 drivers, so I could get up to 3rd, but that was the best I could do. And stuff like that is just so frustrating when you practice as much as I did, as much as these guys I'm sure do.
Just looking at the calendar here, and we've got ourselves Brands Hatch at sunrise next week, which unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be here for that stream, so I'm going to have to miss out on such an amazing track for that race.
That's going to be beautiful track and beautiful time.
But I'll be here for Silverstone, because that's a night race. Our first night race of this season will be at Silverstone, and I absolutely love Silverstone.
It's a beautiful track.
Then we're back to Belgium for Zolder for a dry day race. Over to the US for Laguna Seca. I've never actually heard the name of that track before. Probably just me being uncultured in terms of ACC tracks. That is my bad. And then we're off to Paul Ricard for the 7th round with light rain, and ending the season at Bathurst or Bathurst. Bathurst. In Australia, in the land upside down.
Have you driven Bathurst?
No, I haven't. I mean, so I've made the decision that although I'm not racing ACC, I'm certainly going to start practicing with these guys because I can learn a thing or two. So I look forward to practicing that.
Bathurst is one of my favorite all-time tracks. I would say probably Bathurst, Laguna Seca, and Barber Motorsports Park are my top 3 all time. It's such a fun track.
There's JP with a beautiful move, lapping Konos into the first corner.
Beautiful. Really well done there.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people love going for a race around Brands Hatch or Indianapolis, which I was looking forward to race. I got invited by a few friends to join a race with them, but unfortunately I completely forgot I need the DLC for that race as we watched Maverick fighting, who is that? He's fighting Kelly into the bus stop chicane. He's fighting a lapped car, which is fair enough. You are welcome to do so. It is down to the lapped car to safely overtake you, and you are to follow the racing line. You have to follow a predictable movement.
I believe that is Maverick unlapping himself. I think he caught up to Kelly.
Did he now? That is...
I believe he did. Beautiful piece of driving from Maverick there.
I mean, he's certainly pulling a gap there, so he definitely was catching.
Yeah.
I wonder, does Kelly doesn't have any damage. I think that boost that Kelly's got apparently on his car isn't working out for him. Also, we completely didn't notice this. Both our faults. Vish no longer has the fastest lap.
Oh.
Oosby has it, to no surprise.
No surprise there.
No, and with 5 minutes left remaining in this race, 29 crossing the lap, Oosby has not got the pace to catch up to Shanae, currently 12.5 seconds behind.
Ooh. Looks like another victory for Shanae is on the line, unless, of course, he spins, which we've seen a lot of this race.
But we've also seen lapped traffic really getting in the way of the drivers.
Yes.
And Shanae's next driver on the grid, if only there was a shortcut to jump straight to Shanae. Next ahead of him is Peterson, GT4 driver with the Mercedes. We've got a pack of 5 cars for Shanae next. Falkenberg with the Ferrari for Team Rocket. Then we've got Spinner with a very heavily damaged bonnet to his McLaren, running in 13th. Then second in that group of 5 cars, we've got number 39 Sinister, 1.5 seconds behind. The Lamborghini in 7th place. So Shanae has got 5 cars to clear.
And I think you glanced over this fact, but I think it's worth mentioning. He's lapping 8th place.
So he is.
He's trying to lap, was that 7th and 8th place? That is insane that he has done that in just 45 minutes of racing at Spa, which, I mean, he's done 15 laps. In 15 laps, he's back to
more than half the grid.
Yeah. That is absolutely insane. His pace is otherworldly today.
Right, there he goes. He's gotten past the GT4 driver. Next on his hit list of drivers is Jay Spinner, who unfortunately, as I mentioned before, has that damage and hopefully won't cause too much trouble for him when it comes to Shanae making a move for the overtake.
And I believe it was Spinner last race with no damage that was quick to back out and let the
faster drivers through.
Go through. I assume he'll be doing the same, especially since he's got damage.
He's gone very deep into the bus stop chicane, and Shanae is now through ahead of the McLaren driver. Next is Vin Falkenberg in that Ferrari. Every time, it hurts to see Vin down there.
Oh, it is. It really does.
But that's it. That's 2 minutes left. So now, I believe this is potentially the final lap. I mean, it didn't say last lap of the race.
I think he can get it under.
I mean, the game certainly reckons he can.
It does, but I mean, to be completely honest, does he want one more lap? Because
does he want one lap? But also, he has to
cut the lap time down to, or the gap down to under 11 seconds.
It's not just that as well, though. He's got at this pace, he's going to catch up those 2 other drivers ahead of him before the end of this lap. There's no way in hell he's finishing one more lap around this track.
That's true.
If he does, the man has grip hacks. Let's have ourselves a bit of helicam here for the dying minutes of the race. Shanae, I can't. They're both BMWs. I get confused so easily. He's already looking for a move around the outside, down the inside of the Lambo. There he goes. He's made the move. Vin, you're next.
That's such a tough place to make a move, especially in wet conditions.
Shanae's not afraid.
Absolutely not. He's seen it all this race.
Is he? I don't think he's going to be able to do it before the third sector, but certainly in this third sector, he will find himself certainly fighting Vin.
Definitely.
Quite possibly ahead of him, because it is, for the most part, a long-ass straight with a slight kink to the left.
Right. We'll be able to get a draft and get through this. And probably try to make a move into this.
Got on board with him, actually. See how much... Oh, mate, he's already on the rear wing of that Ferrari. Is he going to go for... He's going to go for a move around the outside.
Looks like it.
And he's already ahead. He's gone. Vin's let him through. And there are 20 seconds of the race left, and he is going to get one more lap. There it is, leader on final lap. 13 seconds remaining. Any driver, so I say any driver, Ackerman and anyone behind Ackerman will finish the race this lap, I believe.
I don't think, yeah, he's not going to make it.
Ackerman, no, 23, no, Ackerman, that's it. This is everyone's final lap. And Ackerman will keep that.
That's interesting. I didn't think he made the start finish line.
No, wait. Oh, okay. It's not like F1. I genuinely thought ACC was like F1, that when that's it, timer's over, everyone is done. But no, I guess not. Because Ackerman crossed the line after it said end of race, or after the timer hit 0.
The white flag is up. It's not checkered yet.
Why is it a white flag though? I thought it was always checkered.
Well, it's 1 to go. So because apparently he crossed the line with time to spare.
Who's this?
I thought time was expired, but
Sinister's gonna get overtaken now. 7th place is going to be overtaken now before the end of the race.
Goodness.
There he goes. Down the inside, or around the outside, sorry. And Sinister is now being lapped. How far's Kelly? Okay, Kelly's too far gone for Sinead to overtake 6th place. Thank goodness for that.
That is absolutely incredible. And Uzubi, he's got the time below 9 seconds now.
See, as much as it is, you know, Sinead's got the win in the bag, more or less.
Right.
It doesn't help that if, for any reason, Uzubi has a penalty his way, the first minor penalty, I believe, is 10 seconds for ACC. So currently, Uzubi is in that window where if Sinead gets a penalty for any circumstance in this race, any situation in this race, Uzubi wins.
Right, and I didn't see anything, but there could have been something closer to the start that I didn't see.
Perhaps. There he goes across the line. 18 laps. That was a long 18 laps, honestly. Sinead lapping so many people. It is so unfortunate. Sinister next across the line. Uzubi, 8.778 was this gap crossing the line. And I'm curious to know if we're going to are we going to have a cruise between all the drivers? We've got Spinner now coming towards the line. 13th place for the McLaren driver. GT4 race. Falzetti comfortably ahead of James by, I think that's 12 seconds. So Falzetti
really nice done.
Continuing to extend his lead. Ackerman finds himself into 3rd place. Brilliant drive by the Porsche driver. I already hear some revving engines, so we're going to have donuts, I believe. That is Sebastian, beautiful pink, crossing the line into, I can't remember what position that was, I'm sorry. The 15th, there we go. JP, 4th. I have to say, I'm quite surprised. Last season, we had a lot of Audis. This season, we've got 1 Audi, 2 Audis.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin's not here, but he's an Audi driver. That's 3 Audis.
Right.
They're all gone.
Kono's trying to hang on to his 11th overall.
Find me Konos quickly, game. Thank you. Konos down the inside. Now going around the outside. He can't make the move. Can he make the move?
Oh,
He makes the move! He's got
the switchback.
the position.
Oh,
Beautiful.
the switchback. He gets it. Battles the GT3 for an outright 11th. Beautifully done.
Now, what on earth are all of our drivers doing? This is the end of the race, and they're all just kind of beach the car. A couple drifting. No cruises. Oh, we've got someone slow driving. Oh, beautiful. Just donuts. That's all we get to see. Nothing special. Slow cruise between 3 drivers. JP, I believe that is Ackerman, with a very heavily damaged car.
Ackerman's still bringing home 3rd place, though. I believe this is his 2nd race in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, we do have, fortunately, we do have some people to interview, so I'm actually excited now, because
We didn't have interviews last week at Hungary, I don't believe. We had Vin.
We had Vin, yeah.
We had Finn, but we didn't have our race winners, which was very unfortunate to see. But let's get Shanae in here. Shanae being our race winner by 9 seconds? No, 8.7 seconds. Shanae, how was that race for you?
I think it went pretty easy after Eusebi spun. So after lap 1, it was easy. I was
Of course.
cruising. Yeah.
I mean, everyone was having an instant behind them. I believe there was like a good 5-6 car collision behind, and you were gone. You were clear of everyone.
Eusebi was faster, but he made a mistake.
During the last few laps, he seemed to be cutting that lap time down a little bit. Were you just trying to, conserve and not push too hard, or was he just on a faster pace?
Yeah, I was lifting through the big puddles so I don't spin, and also I was lapping some cars. So yeah, I wasn't pushing that much. I had the gap so I could slow down a little bit.
That's kind of what I figured. Since you were holding that lead so comfortably before.
Still impressive though, but I have to say, it certainly looks like you were on the line to lose the race, because again, you went for the pits as early as you possibly could, but then Uzbi went for it as late as possible and ended up coming out of the pits 12 seconds behind when you were just, I think it was 30 seconds ahead of him when you pitted. So for a second there, I thought your pit strategy might have lost you the race.
No, I think it's, I don't know. I think I'm slower in the pits for some reason, but I'm not sure why. I got blocked a little bit, fuel? But what?
Did you take on fuel during the pit stop?
No, I just stopped for 1 second.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I don't know. Anyway.
Congratulations.
Good race.
Beautiful
Thanks.
job.
Easy victory. I mean, this now ties you both off. Both of you sitting at, I believe that will be 43 points each. Now going into round 3 at Brands Hatch.
I won the first race, so I'm on 50.
Yeah. Never mind, I can't count. You're at 50. Ignore me, it's okay.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for correcting my math. Let's get our GT4 race winner in here. We will see you next week at Brands Hatch.
Thank you, man. Bye.
I can't drag. There we go. Andrea, that was a brilliant race by you. How was that race for you?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, mainly it was one on keeping it in the white lines, because just steady, constant driving. Luckily, there was a little. Luckily, I mean, there was a little bit of mayhem in lap 1, which allowed me to build the gap to Connor straight away, and then slowly pull away lap by lap without getting him the chance to attack. So I was much more looking forward to this race, I thought it would be much harder because Konos was faster than me in practice and has been faster than me all race, but all race all week. And but luckily, I mean, after I pulled the gap, he wasn't able to close it, and that allowed me to pull away. Of course, because I do not know if he had the chance to go wheel to wheel, I don't know if probably he would have been faster in the long run, but
you're still able to pull away from him, and it was a very, very
yeah,
impressive
because
race.
there was a crazy mayhem in lap 1,
Mhm.
and I mean, I
Well,
think I
even
won this race mainly on my avoiding action, avoiding ability of
uh,
of all the
well,
chaos.
well, even after that, I believe after the first few laps, you were about 6 seconds ahead, and
Yep.
then by the end of the race, you were like 12 to 15 seconds ahead. So
I
even
was.
after that, you were able to pull away from him.
Yeah. I think he got a bit demoralized. I don't know, but I know he's fast, and this race, I think this race, if we would have played it on pace alone, the gaps would have been much more close, much closer.
Are
Well,
you
beautiful race.
indeed a beautiful race? Are you looking forward to Brands Hatch next week?
Yeah, it's gonna be better also because it's dry and it's a track I know. So I mean, I
That's
feel
always good.
a lot more comfortable. I am really scared for the second part of the season because all the tracks are like I have not raced any of the tracks in the second part of the season. So I hope to build a good gap in the standings before that comes around. So so as to
Well,
Hopefully,
good luck,
fingers
sir.
crossed to
improve
you.
that. Sorry?
Fingers
Good
crossed. All
luck,
the
sir.
best of luck.
Fingers crossed. Yes. Yeah. Let's
Now,
hope that we can get to defend this title. Also, right now that would be the only title for Piston because the GT3s are having some trouble with Shiny, who's really fast this season.
Yes.
But yeah, we hope to bring, I mean, first race, unfortunately, Konos had the disconnection, so that gave us a 25 points head start.
Hmm.
But
Well, brilliant racing, and
yeah, thank
good luck
you.
next week.
Thank you. Let's see you in Brands Hatch.
thank you. And let's get Vin in here. I mean, Vin, very, very unfortunate race for you, Vin. I mean, it really broke my heart to see you fall so
Yeah,
far and then find yourself so far behind the rest of the pack. How's that race for
yeah.
you?
Well, it's unfortunate. I was on for a top 5 finish possibly. But I spun on the formation lap after the first corner because I was too early on the throttle, and then I got caught up in an incident by I think it was the 220, not 212. And after that I had to wait 4 minutes in the pits. Was lapped 2 times by everybody. It was unfortunate. It was also frustrating to see. I was quicker than a lot of people I unlapped myself from. Um, and I think this was also not the best race for having a lot of new people, because it's Spa in the wet and
Right.
rookies are a bit. It's a bit tricky for newer people. Nothing against having them, but I think it was not the optimal race to have down the grid, being down the grid and having to race against them. One time I went out of Puon, I think that's the corner, and I was all the way on the left, and there was a car right of me, and he was on the curb, and he spun out, and I was all the way to the left, and he completely hit me into my right.
Ooh.
And I also had an incident bus stop where I spun and touched with somebody.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to have that stuff, but we just gotta bounce back, and I have Team Rocket behind me, and we can do it.
Absolutely. I believe in y'all.
Oh, we all believe in you. I mean, it's certainly a good victory for Team Rocket to have third place in the GT3 Championship and second place in the GT4 Championship. So a strong start for both championships.
Yep.
You're looking forward to Brands Hatch? Do you think that's going to be a potential good handful of points for the team?
I think Autosis has the possibility to win there. We have a lot of experience at Brands Hatch from the 6-hour race where we competed. I think I myself, I will be somewhere in the midfield again. I hope I can get some points again. My personal goal would be somewhere around P8 to P6. And yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy it a bit more because it's dry, and in the dry I always perform a bit better than in the wet.
I mean,
Except for
everyone
qualifying.
loves the dry. You don't get to spin as often.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty good qualifying. I put on a 37.4, which was insanely quick for my standards. And I think I also did a 36 in the race because it was very dry. But I'll look forward to next time.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for... I mean, it was an unfortunate race, but thank you for a brilliant interview. Always nice to have a conversation with you, Vin. And unfortunately, as much as I'd love to say I'd look forward to chatting with you and seeing you next week, I won't be here for Brands Hatch, so I certainly do look forward to hearing great news from the Team Rocket headquarters to say that you guys came home with at least a podium. You know, maybe 2 podiums, 2 Team Rocket podium finishes.
I mean, we had 2 today, one in GT4 and one in GT3.
Oh, 2 GT3s, no pressure. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, just watch out that the communication is gonna have a 3-second delay from the moon.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for a very unfortunate but very fun race. And we will see you. I will see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right.
Good luck next week.
Yep. Thank you.
Ciao. Well, that was one very interesting, very wet race at Spa,
Very
to say the
interesting,
least.
yes.
I certainly look forward to the next rain race. I think France will be a interesting one to spectate. Not as many spins, but certainly less crashes with the walls. So for a rain race, that'll be interesting to see. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I'm not here for Brands Hatch. Sad face. I'm upset.
It should be a really good race. I'm excited to see how the season pans out.
Me too. Well, thank you, JK and Ollie, for joining me in the commentary box. Although Ollie, you weren't here. You were enjoying F1. But thank you anyways for joining. And yeah, I think this will end the stream for ACC. Ciao.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.